What if the greatest player of all time in Wayne Gretzky played in 2007 during the dead puck era where scoring was not as high as it is today and definitely not as high as it was when he played in the 80s and 90s? It is a much different era where goaltenders really dominated. Nowadays, goalies are kind of mid, but back in the 2000s, man, did we have a lot of good goalies. So in today's video, I'm going to be putting Wayne Gretzky on the 2007-2008 Edmonton Oilers, and we are going to simulate probably like 6-7 seasons in this era and see how he does shooting against the greatest goaltenders of all time, pretty much. So we are going to see if he can still score 60, 50 goals, put up over 100 points every single season in the lowest scoring era in basically the NHL's history. So here is the great one, Wayne Gretzky, 99 overall on the 2007 Edmonton Oilers. Dustin Penner is here along with Ales Hemsky, who's an 87, the second highest overall on this team, I believe. We also have Sean Horkoff, Sam Gagner is here, Andrew Cogliano is on the roster. Defensively, who do we have? Really nobody that great, honestly. And in goal, we are rocking with Metho Guerin. I definitely butchered that French name. Regardless, that is the goaltender that we have. 87 overall is a pretty decent overall for a goaltender in NHL 24. And we are basically going to see how Gretzky does in this era. I mean, Gretzky retired in, 1999, so he never really played in the dead puck era. Scoring really shifted after he retired, and we are going to see how good he can be playing against a bunch of different players that he never got to play against during his time in the NHL. So, at the end of the season, the Oilers would end up finishing as the 8th best team in the entire NHL as they went 45, 31, and 6, good enough for 96 points. Ottawa, Boston, New York, Chicago, Calgary, Tampa Bay, and Philadelphia were all better. Philly was the best team with 58 wins on the season. 122 points. That is very good. Now, at the bottom, we have the Carolina Hurricanes. They were the worst with 30 wins. New York was bad. The Islanders, LA. They only won 34 games. Columbus and Colorado. Now, for his first season in the dead puck era, Wayne Gretzky is going to do incredibly well. I mean, 50 goals and 118 points. In an era where scoring was down and even 100 points was a lot for a season. Ales Hemsky had 80 points, also 24 goals. Dustin Penner had 65 and 33 goals. Cogliano had 63, Horkoff 59, Gagner 58. Our goalie went 37, 23, and 4. 3 shutouts and pretty decent stats across the board. Gretzky is going to go ahead and lead everybody in scoring with 118, followed by Recky's 102. Mike Richards had 100. Derek Roy had 98. Arnott had 92. Ovi was up there with 90. Alexander Semin had 90. Briere 90, who now I believe he's the GM of the Flyers, is he not? Ilya Kovalchuk is going to end up leading everybody in goals with 51, followed by Gretzky's 50. Alexander Ovechkin had 49. Mike Richards, 45. Jerome McGinley was up there with 42. Again, Alex DeBrincat is here. I don't know why. He keeps somehow finding his way into 2007. How old was Alex DeBrincat in 2007 anyways? He must have still been like a teenager. For goalies, Marty Biron is going to lead in wins with 41, followed by Kiprusoff's 37. Habib Bulin had 37. For shutouts, it's also going to go to Biron and Habib Bulin as they have tied at 6 shutouts apiece for the season. And in the very first round, we have the San Jose Sharks as our round 1 matchup. Honestly, that's a pretty tough matchup to have. They obviously have Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau in their prime of their career. So this will not be an easy series whatsoever. And just like I said, it would be tough. We ended up getting swept by San Jose in round number 1 as the Detroit Red Wings will go on and win the Stanley Cup, beating Tampa Bay in 6 games. I'm honestly not that shocked that Detroit is going to win the Cup. They have a very good team. Obviously, Zetterberg, Datsuk, Lidstrom, Chris Osgood is in the net, I believe. Now, in the playoffs, Gretzky really wasn't that great. He had 2 goals in 4 games, and that's it. But nobody else on our team was really that great. Cogliano had 2, Horkoff 2, Hemsky 2, Penner 2. Yeah, our scoring was really dry in the playoffs. Pavel Datsuk is going to lead the playoffs in scoring with 27 points, followed by Marty St. Louis, 26, also had 11 goals. I'm going to ignore Alex DeBrincat there. Vinny Lecavalier had 23, Henrik Zetterberg 23, UC Jokinen was there with 21. The great one is going to end up taking home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. The Maurice Richard will go to Ilya Kovalchuk. The Norris, the Timonen, Datsuk is going to win the Conn Smythe. The Vezina to Habib Bulin, and the Selke will go to Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins, a very young Crosby. So heading into our second season here, Gretzky obviously is still a 99. It does not look like we picked up anybody really that great in the offseason. Our forward core is pretty much the same. Defensively, I guess Evan Bouchard is now on the roster, and in goal, we still have the same starting goalie. So hopefully we can have a better season than last year. Obviously, getting swept is never fun, especially in round number 1. Also, I forgot to do this, but Wayne Gretzky, obviously you need to be the captain of the Oilers. I swear to God, I thought I turned off retired jerseys. Why is he wearing number 98? What are we doing right now? If you guys have made it in this video so far, if you could do me a favor, leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you did enjoy the video would be great. That would help out my channel a ton, especially with the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure you turn on notifications because YouTube doesn't always notify you when somebody uploads a video, and that is to make sure you never miss a single live stream or video that I put out on my channel. Also, I guess I didn't turn off retired jerseys, and Gretzky's gonna have to be wearing number 98 for the entire video, which is a major piss off for me. I'm not happy about it, but I guess it is what it is. I can't really do too much about it now. So the Edmonton Oilers are going to have an amazing season, better than last year, going 48, 19, and 15, 111 points, third in the entire NHL, only behind Buffalo and the Red Wings, who, I mean, Detroit is probably the best team in the entire NHL, 58 wins this season. Tampa Bay was good, Toronto, Minnesota, and Ottawa. At the bottom, we have the Carolina Hurricanes yet again, followed by the St. Louis Blues, the Islanders, and the Dallas Stars. Gretzky is going to continue to dominate, 54 goals, 127 points in the dead puck era. No doubt that's the most points in the entire league this season. He's literally proving that he's the greatest of all time and he'd be good in any era. Sean Horkoff at 85, Hemsky 84, Cogliano 82, Penner had 69, Gagne 66. So offensively, we were very good this season. And our goalie was very good as well, 40, 15, 13, and 2. Obviously, 2 shutouts, 913 save percentage, and a 276 goals against average. As Gretzky, as the great one, is going to lead everybody in scoring yet again, this time with 127. Followed by Ovi, who had 109, so it was really not that close. Semin had 107, Zetterberg 106, Nicholas Backstrom had 106. Evgeny Malkin had a great season. Ilya Kovalchuk's always good. Now for goals in the NHL, Ovi is going to lead with 59. I mean, he's the greatest goal scorer of all time for a reason. Followed by Gretzky, who had 54, Semin 46, DeBrincat was up there, of course, Kovalchuk 44, Franzen had 43, Marian Gaborik had a 40-goal season himself. Ryan Miller is going to lead all goalies in wins with 43, followed by Chris Osgood's 43 as well, so I guess they would tie. Our starting goalie had 40 wins on the year. He would come in 3rd place, minus Spencer Knight. I don't know why he's here. And for shutouts, Martin Brodeur is going to lead with 10 on the season. And in the first round, we are up against the Nashville Predators. Well, it turns out that we actually made a long playoff run. We made the conference finals, but lost in Game 7 to the eventual Stanley Cup winning Columbus Blue Jackets. Yes, they beat the Red Wings in Game 7 of the finals, and they are going to go on and win their very first Stanley Cup in their franchise's history. Now, for the playoffs, Gretzky was very good, 12 goals and 20 points in 20 games. Cogliano had 20 points, as well as Hemsky. Gagne had 16, Penner 16. If we take a look at the entire playoffs as a whole, Nikolai Zadirev is going to lead with 29 points, followed by Rick Nash, who had 28, also 12 goals. Ebbett was up there with 22, Franzen 22, Zetterberg 22, as well as Nicholas Lidstrom. Gretzky, again, is going to win the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. The Maurice Richard will go to Ovechkin, the Norris, the Nick Lidstrom, the Conn Smythe to Zadorov, the Vezina will go to Jonas Korpisalo for some reason. And the Selke Trophy will go to Sidney Crosby for back-to-back seasons. Gretzky is obviously still a 99, and it doesn't look like we picked up anybody. Horkov's up to an 88, as well as Cogliano and Hemsky, all 88 overall. Penner is an 87. So we didn't make any moves, but the players on our team are improving year by year. I guess that's the Gretzky effect. Defensively, we still have the same exact team and the same exact starting goalie, who's an 88 overall. I still have no idea how to pronounce that guy's name. So it turns out the Edmonton Oilers are going to end up missing the playoffs, finishing with a record of 38, 34, and 10, only 86 points. We were 4 points back of the Senators. in our division. Also, yeah, the divisions are completely messed up because I reset or actually removed 2 teams from the NHL, which are Seattle and Vegas, because they were not in the league at the moment. But yeah, we were not even close to even making the playoffs. Vancouver was the best team in the NHL, going 52, 23, and 7, followed by the Calgary Flames, the Red Wings, Chicago, and Minnesota. At the bottom, were we one of the worst teams? We weren't one of the worst teams in the entire NHL. Not even top 10 worst teams, but we were not in the playoffs, and that honestly generally hurts my soul with Wayne Gretzky on the roster. There is no reason that we should miss. Despite missing the playoffs, Gretzky is still going to have a great regular season. 51 goals, 114 points, followed by Horkoff, 76. Cogliano had 70, Hemsky 66, Penner 66. So offensively, we did take a step back. What did our starting goalie do here? 27 and 27. Yeah, he was absolutely brutal. That is probably the biggest reason why we missed the playoffs. 3.5 goals a game almost, and not even a 900 save percentage. Gretzky is still going to end up leading the entire league in points with 114, followed by Ovi's 109, Semin had 107, Backstrom 105. Mikko Koivu was up there, Arnott and Roy. Well, technically, Alex DeBrincat is going to lead everybody in goals as he had 59 on the season and 101 points. That is insane. This dude's a 90 overall. In 2007, when he was probably like 16 years old. Honestly, not even 16. More like 5 or 6 years old. Alexander Ovechkin had 52. Gretzky 51. Kobasu had 51. Arnott 44. Aginla 42. And our goalie is not going to be even close to the wins. That would be Martin Brodeur with 44. And for shutouts, Roberto Luongo, Bobby Lou, baby, is going to tie for the lead alongside Nikolai Habibulin. They both had 6. And the Minnesota Wild are going to go on and win their very first franchise's Stanley Cup as they defeat New Jersey in 6 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. Now for the awards, Alexander Ovechkin is going to win the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy. The Art Ross to Gretzky and Maurice Richard to Alex DeBrincat. The Norris will go to Mike Green. Fun fact, Mike Green actually scored, I believe, over 30 goals in a season as a defenseman. Mikko Koivu is going to win the Conn Smythe. The Vezina to Roberto Luongo, and the Selke will go to Wayne Gretzky of the Edmonton Oilers. Now, honestly, if we end up missing the playoffs again next season, I'm just going to reset this, and we are going to be taking out the wheel. I'm going to spin it, whatever team we land on. That is the team that Gretzky is going to be leaving the Oilers for, because honestly, I do want to see him raise the Stanley Cup before the end of the video, and I have a feeling it's not going to happen here in Edmonton. This roster is not great, and the computers aren't helping whatsoever, adding literally anybody in the offseason. So this could end up being Gretzky's final season in Edmonton, as he's still going to be a 99, Hemsky's an 87, Cogliano 86. Everybody's back down to earth a little bit, at least offensively. Defensively, Evan Bouchard is up at a 90 overall, and in goal, we still have Guerin, who's an 87. Hopefully, we can actually make the playoffs this season and not miss like last year. Luckily, the Oilers have made the playoffs after last season missing. They went 45, 31, and 6, good enough for 96 points. They would end up finishing top 10 in the entire NHL. The Red Wings were the best at 54 wins, followed by the Minnesota Wild. Anaheim was good. Washington, Ottawa, and Buffalo at the bottom. We have Florida, Pittsburgh, and San Jose. All bad teams outside of Pittsburgh, who, I mean, in 2 years' time from the start of the simulation, they won the Stanley Cup. So they should not be only winning 31 games on the season. Now, despite actually making the playoffs, Gretzky is going to have his worst season so far of the video. 38 goals and 82 points in 82 games. So just barely point per game in the dead puck era. I mean, he is 31 years old. Maybe this is age kicking in, and he's not the same player that he was a few years ago. Horkoff at 69. Also, 106 penalty minutes. My God. You absolute goon. Hemsky at 66 points, Penner 65, Cogliano 65. What did our goalie do here? 36, 24, and 3, 2 shutouts. Not really the greatest stats overall, if I'm being honest. Rick Nash is going to end up leading the entire NHL in scoring with 115 points, followed by Peyton Krebs, who had 105. For some reason, he's also in the simulation. Derek Roy had 103. Dylan Strome had 103. Ovi 100. Marty St. Louis was up there at 97. Now for goals, Ovechkin is going to lead with 54 on the season. All of these guys are literally current day guys. Why does it seem like the more I use this roster, the more players pop up? Regardless, Rick Nash is going to have 45 goals. Boys had 45. Ebbett 43. Semin 41. I don't believe our goalie was up there for wins. He was 10 behind Osgood. And for shutouts, it's going to go to J.S. Shigear and Ilya Samsonov, as they both had 6 shutouts on the season. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the Ottawa Senators. Unfortunately, we we would end up losing in the second round to the Washington Capitals as they swept us. New Jersey will go on and win the Stanley Cup, beating Washington in Game 7 of the finals. Now for the playoffs, Sean Horkoff is actually going to lead our team, going to tie for goals and lead in points with 11. Gretzky only had 10 and 4 goals. He's also a -2, so not really the greatest playoff run overall. Henner had 9, Cogliano 9, Hemsky 8, Kennedy had 6. Rick Nash is going to end up taking home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Ovi's going to win the Maurice Richard, the Norris, the Scott Niedermayer, the Conn Smythe, the Zubris. J.S. Shigeru is going to win the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Wayne Gretzky. So you're probably wondering why we are staring at the wheel right now. Well, it looks like Wayne Gretzky has requested a trade out of Edmonton. He's done with the Oilers in the dead puck era, as they are not going to win anything during the simulation. So we are going to spin the wheel, whatever team we land on. That is the team that Wayne Gretzky will be joining for probably 1 to 2 seasons here. And oh my God, there is no way. Wayne Gretzky is headed to the 6, headed to Toronto. So there he is, the greatest player of all time, Wayne Gretzky on the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's a 99 still. And we pretty much already know what this roster is looking like, considering I literally just did a sim of Austin Matthews in this era not that long ago. We have Matt Sundin on the first line at an 89, Andrew Poffs an 86, Blake 85. Pretty decent forward core, I guess. Defensively, we're okay. I mean, we didn't win a cup with Matthews. And in goal, we have Vesa Toskala at an 86 overall. So I'm not too sure if we'll win it with Gretzky. Obviously, he's a much higher overall at a 99, so maybe that'll help them sim better. So it turns out the Toronto Maple Leafs are not even going to end up making the playoffs, as we finished 7th, or actually 8th in our division, going 36, 41, and 5, only 77 points. Now for the entire NHL, Carolina was the best at 54 wins, followed by Ottawa, Detroit, LA, and the Rangers. And of course, the Edmonton Oilers without Wayne Gretzky are going to be perfectly fine and not be any worse whatsoever in the simulation. Now, at the bottom of the NHL, Toronto was one of the worst teams in the entire league. I honestly think that we need a respin, boys. We'll do one more season, see if Gretzky can win a Stanley Cup. So we are going to head back to the wheel. I mean, despite not making the playoffs, Gretzky still did show up. 46 goals, 64 assists for 110 points. And the Boston Bruins are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup, beating Minnesota in 6 games in the finals. And now it is time to spin the wheel for one final time. What team are we going to be joining here in the dead puck era? And it's going to be the Vancouver Canucks, which is a pretty decent team to get, honestly. We'll have to check out the roster. So for the final season of the video, Wayne Gretzky is going to be playing on the Vancouver Canucks alongside Daniel and Henrik Sedin. The Sedin sisters are going to be the 2 wingers alongside Gretzky down the middle. We also have Marcus Naslund, who's an 85. Ryan Kessler's an 85 as well. Defensively, we do have Kevin Bieksa. And in goal, we have my favorite goalie of all time, Roberto Luongo, Bobby Lou. He's a 90 overall. This is a much better roster than Toronto and honestly even Edmonton. So the Vancouver Canucks are going to have a great regular season, going 50, 28, and 4. Good enough for first in the Pacific. And they would end up being the 5th best team in the entire NHL, only behind the Philadelphia Flyers, Nashville, New York, and Washington, who was the best. Gretzky is going to be absolutely amazing. 58 goals, 124 points. Henrik Sedin had 86. Daniel had 78. Morrison, 58. Mason Raymond had 57. Kessler had 22 goals and 53 points. Naslund only had 41, which is honestly kind of surprising. I expected a little better out of him. And if we take a look here, Roberto Luongo, 45, 23, and 3, 4 shutouts, and very good stats, rocking a 922 save percentage. Gretzky's going to lead everybody in scoring with 124, followed by Ovi, who had 103, Semin had 98, Crosby 98, Backstrom 90, Eric Stahl was up there at 87. Alfredson had 87. He's been pretty quiet this entire video. On the goal side, Ovechkin's going to lead with 62 on the year, followed by Gretzky, who did have 58. Kovalchuk, 46. Stahl, 45. Rick Nash had 41. Aginla, 40. Luongo is going to be 1 win behind Chris Osgood, who did have the most as a goaltender. And for shutouts, Dan Ellis is going to have the most at 9. Vancouver is going to end up playing the Minnesota Wild in round number 1. And unfortunately, we would end up losing in Game 7 of round number 1 to the eventual Stanley Cup winning Minnesota Wild as they beat the Philadelphia Flyers in 5 games in the finals. And unfortunately, no Stanley Cup for Wayne Gretzky in the modern NHL. Gretzky in the playoffs was still pretty good. 6 goals and 11 points in only 7 games in the first round. Burroughs had 8, Raymond 7. Sedin sisters were not very good. Gretzky is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy yet again. The Maurice Richard is going to go to Ovi, the Norris, the Dion Phaneuf, the Conn Smythe to Dimitra. Bobby Lou is going to win the Vezina, and the Selke will also go to Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player of all time. And that is going to do it for this video, boys. I've gone ahead and put Wayne Gretzky in the lowest scoring era possible, and he still was pretty damn good. I mean, he led the NHL in scoring almost every single season, if not every season. He had a lot of goals, a lot of assists, a lot of points, not a lot of playoff success, didn't make the Stanley Cup Finals, nor did we win a Stanley Cup. Obviously, we played for, I believe, 3 teams, Edmonton, Toronto, and then finally the Vancouver Canucks. Didn't get it done, but that is okay. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you support it. I would like to say thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.